Hi, I'm Floyd Little, former Denver Broncos Hall of Famer. I'm in Marco Island at the NFL Players Conference and just had a chance to speak to the group as a former player, and I'm just totally enjoying myself.
Fans want to know what kind of speech did you give today? What sort of things did you do?
Well, today I gave a speech about our legacy as players and looked to talk to them about who we are, where we are, and what happens next for us as former players. So it was well received. I mean, all of the players have come by from time to time and thanked me for my comments and my candor, and to really just let everybody know who we were, where we were, and what's next for us. So it was received very well.
This fan wants to know, what's the number one question that you always get? What's your answer?
Well, my number one question is, how's the Broncos going to do next year? I think they got a great leader in John Fox. John Fox did a great job with Carolina. I think he lost a lot of his players. That's why his team went down. But I think he'll bring the Denver Broncos back to where they need to be.
Okay. Who are some of the Broncos that you keep in touch with?
Well, my best friend is Billy Thompson, who still works for the Bronco organization. I stay in touch with Gary Zimmerman, who also is a Hall of Famer. John Elway, who now is one of the VPs for the Bronco organization. Jerry Simmons is one of my good friends. Otto Stowe, who I see on an ongoing basis. And Rich Jackson, who is my golf coach and teammate, and Larry Brunson. And, I mean, we have a lot of good players that we stay in touch with on the regular. I play in the Bronco golf tournament every year, and I see quite a few on an ongoing basis, and we call each other from time to time. So as older players, we stay in touch with each other a lot more than I think the current players do.
What did you do for a career after the NFL?
Well, after the NFL, when I retired after the NFL, I was a Ford dealer for 32 years, and I also trained other Ford dealers who wanted to be dealers, and I also taught financial statement analysis for Ford Motor Company and internal controls for how you control your business from internally, and I enjoyed that for 32 years. Just recently gave up my franchise, and since my induction to Pro Football Hall of Fame, I've been kind of retired and trying to decide what's next for me. So I'm still out there. I'm trying to figure out what I'll do next.
Can you talk about Hall of Fame week when you went into the Hall? What it was like, highs and lows, mostly highs?
Well, the Hall of Fame week was an experience you'll never forget as a Hall of Famer, because you don't even see your wife during that week. It's an opportunity to see a lot of things, do a lot of things, a lot of appearances, a parade, luncheons, signing opportunities. And it is one weekend that you get very little sleep in, but it was great. And the fact that I'm going back this year because I didn't experience it the way most people experience it, my family is also coming back this year. So this year, first week of August, I'll get a chance to go to Canton and really see my bus and everybody else's bus and see what it looks like in Canton during Hall of Fame week, because I didn't get that opportunity as a Hall of Famer. So I'm looking forward to it this year.
Who were some of the Hall of Famers that you met that week, that made you really proud to have that opportunity to meet them?
Well, there was a lot of Hall of Famers for Hall of Fame week. I think 80 Hall of Famers came back, and we have a special luncheon. And my class of 67, there are like 15 Hall of Famers from the same class, my college class, or more. So when you see Bob Greasy, you see Deacon Jones, you see Ronnie Lott, Willie Lanier, you see a lot of the guys that you played against in college and you played in Pro Bowls with. So you name it, they were all there. I just enjoy seeing a lot of the Hall of Famers that a lot of people don't get a chance to really mix and mingle with. So that was good for me to be now one of them. I was the 257th Hall of Famer. There was, up until last year, there was 159 of us still alive. And my number is 257 that I'll always remember. And it's only been 260 Hall of Famers in the history of the Hall of Fame and until this year's class came in. So I'm number 257. John Randall is 258. Emmett Smith Jerry Rice is 259, and Emmitt Smith is 260. So I know those numbers forever.
Who are your current favorite players to watch on Sundays?
Who's my current players to watch? Well, I kind of watch the Broncos. I've liked Brian Dawkins for a long time, who played and has played for many, many years. He's one of my favorites. Adrian Peterson, I like who he is and what he does. So I don't have that many players that I look to or watch, but those are two players that I kind of like to watch because they give it their all every play. Champ Bailey is another guy that I like to watch. So there's a few guys out there that I kind of stay in touch with and keep an eye on, and not necessarily all running backs, but just overall players that I think really make a great contribution to the game.
When you talk to current players or younger players, what advice do you usually give them?
Well, I've been talking to them all this week. I've been down here with a lot of the active players. And in fact, I had a chance to talk with Matt Hasselblatt for about a half hour just in passing. We stopped and we visited for a half hour. But I just tell them to really just enjoy this time of their life and prepare for the next stage of their life, because life, being a professional football player, doesn't guarantee you a chance to play for a long time. I think the life expectancy for a player is less than 4 years. So enjoy the time that you're in. Prepare to leave, what you're going to do next on the next level. And you prepare for that every day. It's not something you prepare the day you no longer a player. And as I talk with them at the golf course and in the hallways and at our meetings, I just say this is the greatest time of your life, but prepare every day for this to be over. And how you prepare for that will help you in your efforts to become or roll back into society so you can really adapt to it.
Have you spoken to any of the current guys about the lockout? And do you have any advice for them in order to how to get through a labor dispute like this?
Well, I've talked to a couple guys about what to expect, and really to ask them to really conserve what they do. In fact, yesterday I talked with quite a few of them just to prepare for this. You don't know how long it's going to be, but I personally don't think it'll be long. I think there's too much out there, too much on the line. I suspect that this thing can get resolved and will get resolved before. I made the date sometime June, but it's just so much going on, and I just think that we need to really look at and focus on this game. Really helps a lot of people, financially and otherwise. It's just not about the owners. It's just not about the players, but it's about everybody who loves this game, and this is the most popular game in the world right now, in my opinion, and I think we need to keep it going.
Who was your favorite player growing up and why?
Well, Jim Brown was one of my favorite people. He went to Syracuse. I went to Syracuse. There was a movie done called Express that talked about Ernie Davis, and they talked about Jim Brown, and he talked about me. But Jim Brown was one of my favorite people. I've always watched him, tried to have a running style like Jim, but he was my favorite player growing up.
Do you think there's going to be a season next year?
Do I think there'll be a season? Of course there'll be a season. I mean, you can profile and you can put up a lot of fronts, but there's no way that the National Football League won't play football in 2011. It's in my opinion, it's impossible for a whole year to go by without football. That won't happen.
Have you met D. Smith and some of the other leadership at the NFLPA?
Have I met D. Smith and the other leaders? I've met them all. I've been a part of their. I've supported them since day one. I met with Cornelius Bennett, who is one of our representatives for the retired players, as well as Jim McFarland. But I know D very, very well, and I've had many different conversations with him. I like his energy. I like what he's done in terms of the transparency that we get now. He's unified us as one team, one locker room, one voice. This is the second year that we, as retired players, had a chance to rub shoulders with the current players. That's never happened before. And by him really getting the information out, being transparent about what happens and what is happening, and keeping the information available and open, I think he's done a great job in helping us become one locker room, one voice, one team. So I think he's done a great job.
All right. Do you have a closing message to the fans, or maybe a thank you?
Well, for all of those fans that really enjoyed this game, all of the people that love the game the way they do, I just want to thank you for your support and continue to support your players because they really want to play this year. And hopefully you understand that and you will support their efforts to try to get the right thing done for all of us, for not only just fans, for players, for owners. We want a fair and equitable opportunity to continue to play and continue to be the greatest game in America.